starting with a very important and essential chapter, preparing a presentation. Now, let's get started with how to prepare an effective presentation. We need to keep in mind very necessary points. The first point being create a thesis. If someone were to ask you, what's the presentation about? You should be able to summarize your answer in a concise sentence or two. If you stumble through your explanation or ramble, you are thinking too broadly, just like a well written essay or article. A well executed presentation should have a targeted aim and focus. The point number two being structure the presentation with the audience's knowledge level in mind. When you are an expert on a topic, you can be so close to it that you lose touch with what is common knowledge and what isn't. Everyone has sat through presentations where the lecturer needlessly define basic terms, but listening to someone speak at a high level when you have absolutely no idea what they are talking about is just so bad. Think about who your audience is and what they are likely to know when you create your presentation. You are talking to highly skilled professional in a very nice field. You probably don't need to define basic industry terms. If, though, you are teaching something new to a group of people with little or no prior knowledge of the subject, explain unique terms and acronyms. Next is don't overload your presentation with examples or facts. However, you may often find that your senior or your associate asks you to put necessary explanations or examples in your presentation. However, it may burden up the presentation. Using examples will make the presentation relevant, though it often exceeds the word limit, or the onset of the audience. When structuring your presentation, make sure the pacing and order of facts and example makes sense. Inexperienced presenters often overload their audiences with fact or over explain things by offering too many examples. Just what I was saying. Using examples to explain complicated concepts or processes is a good strategy, but make sure you are not going to give examples just to give examples. The same strategy works for facts and figures also. While there are presentations that are fact and figure dense out of necessity, offering too many pieces of ancillary evidence or information confuses listeners. Make sure your presentation stays focused on your thesis and avoid repetition. The fourth one is rehearse with technology. Today, in this era of modern technology, we have plenty of options to choose from with which we need to rehearse. Even professional performers rehearse. You should rehearse early and often. Remember, only practice makes a man perfect. And use any AV tools you will be using during your rehearsals. If you are nervous about public speaking, enlist help from your family and friends and use them as guinea pigs. While it's not always possible, if you can get into the room or theater where you will be actually presenting ahead of time, do so. The more familiar you are with the space and the tech setup, the better prepared you will feel on the big day. Point number 5 being arrive early. If you are prone to lateness, overcompensate on the day of your presentation. Don't aim to arrive on time. Be early. If you are presenting in an auditorium, you may have to do sound checks, and if you are in a conference room or a classroom, you will likely need to set up your own tech. Even if you are not using an AV equipment, you should arrive early, especially if you have never been to the presentation location before. Nothing frazzles your nerves more than rushing around like crazy just before speaking in front of a bunch of people. The next is add a CTA or call to action if applicable. If the aim of your presentation is to spur your audience to action, whether that be buying a product, collaborating on a project, or participating in something specific, include a call to action. Call to action or CTAs are used extensively in advertising. They typically come at the very end of an ad or piece of promotional copy and are directive and specific in nature. Something like get involved is not a good CTA because it's not specific. You have to be specific with dates, with websites, and whatnot. The next being be realistic about public speaking nerves. Public speaking is a widely held fear, and most people know that. This information should help you feel more secure about your skills going into the presentation. The audience wants you to do well, but they also understand that you aren't a professional performer. If something glitches, you stumble over a few lines of information, or you stop to consult your notes, it is highly unlikely that people will react negatively. Most likely, that people you are presenting to will sit patiently and wait for you to regain your train of thought. This is especially true if you are new to giving presentations and it's not a primary part of your job. People know public speaking is challenging, and usually they are kind, understanding, and supportive. So, keep in mind all these 7 points when you are actually preparing a presentation. This will help you, and rehearsal or practice will make you perfect in giving a presentation. Hope this helps. Thank you.